All right, so we recently did a video showing how to set up the new US31 from my studio. This is an all LED lit studio, ultra bright daylight 5000K LED lighting. We have a very unique U-shaped cyclorama, so it's got corners all the way through. It's seamless. You can shoot from all kinds of angles. A nice ABS plastic that you can wipe down if it gets dirty, so you can use this over and over again. So I'm going to show you, go through 2 or 3 different product shots, give you some ideas of how this can be used and the versatility of the US31. Now the light stand right now is in the standard configuration where one light is on top of the other. They're connected by this little 6-inch connector, so the lights you only have to plug in one light. We've got the foam core top on, which really gives the best light. You can actually take the top off if you need to shoot straight down, where you can just part it a little bit. If you can shoot down through the center, you can use these as bounce cards. You can do a whole lot of things with this. But right now, I've got my camera on a tripod. I'm shooting with a Canon 5D Mark III. I've got a 50mm lens on. You always want to use a tripod when you're doing studio type photography like this. It just takes away the possibility of camera shake. You're using lower shutter speeds often, so we want as crisp an image as possible. This puts out quite a bit of light. A standard exposure would be ISO 100 f4 at about 100th of a second, maybe an 80th of a second, depending on what you're doing. But anyway, we've got a little book set up in here, so let's get down here and see what we can do. So right now, I have got this framed up, and I've made sure my focus is good. I'm going to use autofocus on this one. Sometimes when you're doing really close-up stuff, I like to use manual focus. But right now I'm going to use autofocus. Focus in about 1/3 of the way from the front, and just try to get a nice shot so it'll look like these journals are kind of floating. All right, so we're about to take the photo. So there you got a nice clean shot. You can't tell where the corners are. Very seamless. Again, I mentioned that you've got the sides wrapping around, so something you can do with this My Studio unit, some of our others as well, but even more with this one because you've got 3 sides, is that you can really shoot from different angles. I'm going to go down to f2.5. So I'm going to have to increase my shutter speed up to about 200ths. And I'm just going to focus on that front corner of the journal. And you see the rest of it kind of fade into a little bit blurry, so you get that shallow depth of field kind of thing. All right, let's move on to something else. Okay, so now we've switched out the books for a book bag. Got this beautiful leather book bag with lots of texture. Nice dark rich color, which will contrast really nice with the white. I've actually opened the shutter speed up to about 60th of a second, so a little bit slower, let in a little bit more light because I really want to see a lot of the texture in this. I'm still at f4, and so let's see what that looks like. That's great. Love that image. Yeah, that's just beautiful. All right, so I've switched out the book bag for some bourbon. I can get a pretty good shot like this. The bottles are pretty tall, so the lights are just a little bit too high for my liking. I'd like to come up with the camera just a little bit, and to do that, I'll need the light a little bit higher. We can actually change the configuration of the light stand. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So we're going to take this apart, and we're going to put the lights side by side rather than on top of each other. And so we'll be able to have the light a little bit taller. We'll also be able to shoot from a greater number of angles. So let's go ahead and take the cover off. So the way we do that, first we're going to have to unhook the lights. So I'm just going to pull this connector out like this. This connector over here This is where the power cord was. So I want this to be the light that stays over on this side. So I'm going to leave that like it is. I'm going to remove the top light completely first. All right, so the top light comes out. I'm going to put that over here for a second. These pieces were also in your kit. This little piece is what we're going to use to join the lights together in the center. We're not going to use this. We're going to actually put the lights right up next to each other. So, in order to do that, I'm going to take this side off. I'm going to go ahead and put this connector right in the middle here. And one thing we're going to need to do is I'm going to slide the light a little bit that way just so that it is kind of in the middle, right kind of flush with this edge. So there's a couple little adjustments I'm going to need to make before I'm able to complete this. The first thing is I need to remove the locating screw from the middle here. So I'm just going to loosen that, take it out. So after removing the locating screw from this one, we're also going to remove the locating screw from what will be the center here. So my studio logo here, we're going to remove the other locating screw. And then we're basically going to join these in the center. So just line up the holes. We're going to take the 10/32 screw, the longer one, put it through the steel reinforced spot like that. Put one of the wing nuts on. Then take the smaller screw, put that through the bottom hole. All right, so now they're joined at the center. So now we're going to take this connector and put it onto this light. And this is how we're going to join the two lights together. Then we're going to take the part of the light that can connect on here. We're just going to connect it just like this. Then we're going to go ahead and clip it back in. Then we're going to stand this back up. So I'm going to put this in the top position, almost top, one from the top, and do it on this side first. Now we have a light stand that spans all the way across here. Now we're going to plug this in. Both lights turn on. I'm going to go ahead and put the top back on. All right, so now we have a little bit more of an open studio. So we're going to go ahead and shoot that picture again. I'm going to spotlight this bottle right here. Have the other ones kind of fade into the background. You get that nice, crisp bottle in the foreground. Those other bottles just kind of fading out to the background. So hope that gives you kind of an idea of some things you can do.